Proverbs chapter 20. Wine is a mocker, and beer a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. All right, there you go again, Solomon, hitting us with a powerful punch of a statement right off to begin the chapter. Here's the reality. Alcohol can lead to things being astray in our life. There's going to be people who watch this and they're going to say, well, I don't have a problem with alcohol. I don't believe that alcohol's wrong to drink. I don't have a conviction about it. And I'd say, okay. There's going to be people who are going to watch this and they're going to say, well, I believe that it's wrong for me to drink alcohol and I have a conviction and I don't drink alcohol. I'd say, okay. Both of those, great. Here's what I know without question. Drunkenness is a sin. Anyone who disputes that is disputing with something that is black and white in the Bible. Now, the Bible does not come out directly and say, thou shalt not drink alcohol ever. It doesn't say that. But it does say on many occasions and warn on many occasions about things that can come from alcohol or dangers that can come from alcohol and excessive use of it or being given over to it. And so in that, many people will take a mindset that say, well, all things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial, as the Apostle Paul would talk about. And they would say, for me, it's not beneficial and I'm not going to drink. And I would say 100%, I love that. Good for you. But then someone else might say, well, Paul also wrote to Timothy about having a little glass of wine or something that it's good for his health or something like that. And Jesus turned water to wine. And they would say of Jesus that he was eating and drinking, but he utilized self-control. And in their culture, they all drank wine. And it doesn't seem to be an issue in the Bible. It's only an issue if you drink too much. And I don't drink too much, so I don't have a conviction with it. Okay. All right. But at the end of the day, don't miss this. Wine is a mocker, and beer is a brawler. Whoever is led astray by them is not wise. It's when that in your life leads you astray that we have the problem. So some people in wisdom for him who knows what is good to do and does not do it, for him it is sin. For them, they choose to, like Jesus said, better to cut off the right hand than to lead to sin. They say, you know what, I'm just going to cut this off in my life. And forget alcohol for a minute. There might be other things in your life that you just choose to cut off. They just cut it off from their life and they say, I'm not going to be led astray. Awesome. But for those of you who make the choice not to cut it off from your life and you say, well, it's lawful and I don't have a problem with it and I don't think it's an issue. Okay, but make sure. Be very careful, be very attentive so that it doesn't lead to abuse, so that it doesn't become something that you drink to cope with a bad day, that you drink to be able to fall asleep, that you drink to dull some type of pain. Be very careful that you're not using alcohol or other things, it's not just alcohol, as an escape from life. Because what it will do is it will lead you astray. And if you allow it to lead you astray, the Bible would share it with you and with me, we're not being wise. And so let's use wisdom in what we eat, in what we drink, in how we speak, in what we consume. Because I would respectfully argue or articulate, and this is just my opinion, that in some ways watching Netflix for 10 hours in one day can be like drinking all day. Because there are people who will consume content all day long that is not healthy. Not that all Netflix content's bad, but there are shows on Netflix, there are movies on Netflix, there's things that we can watch that's not healthy for our soul. And it can lead us astray. And for 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours, we can binge watch something that is not healthy for us. And it can lead us astray with our words. It can lead us astray with our thoughts. It can lead us astray with how we act. Why? Because it influences us. And if we're not wise, we can be led astray by excess in areas of our life. Verse 2. Got to pick up the pace or this could take forever. A king's wrath strikes terror like the roar of a lion. Those who anger him forfeit their lives. Take this practically today. Our boss, when they're angry, we get a little nervous. Why? Because their anger can forfeit our future. We can lose our job. It is to one's honor to avoid strife, but every fool is quick to quarrel. Don't be looking for a fight. Look to avoid them. Use wisdom. Why? Because in a fight, nobody walks away unpunched. And you may win the fight, but there's going to be scars that you walk away with, and scars build up over time. Verse 4, sluggards do not plow in season, so at harvest time they look but find nothing. If we don't put in the hard work on the front end, we won't reap the fruit on the back end. The purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. It takes skill, it takes wisdom to be able to draw out what's in a person's heart. We have to relationally and intimately connect with people to be able to hear the depths of who they are. Many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person who can find. It's hard to find people that will stick with you. And when you find them, you need to value them and treasure them because they're rare. Don't take good people for granted. Verse 7. The righteous lead blameless lives. Blessed are their children after them. Not only are they blessed, but they leave a legacy of blessings for their kids. When a king sits on his throne to judge, he winnows out all evil with his eyes. For who can say, I have kept my heart pure and I am clean without sin? The reality is this: we've all fallen short of the glory of God. Differing weights and differing measures, the Lord detests them both. God hates dishonesty. He doesn't like it when we cheat. For even small children are known by their actions, so is their conduct really pure and upright. If children are known by our actions, then so are we. Ears that hear and eyes that see, the Lord has made them both. God's given us eyes to be able to observe what's taking place around us. He's given us ears to listen to the wisdom of those that have gone before us. Why did God give this to us? So that we can grow. Our mouth does not help us grow. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. The mouth just reveals the growth or lack of growth that's taken place in our life. But our ears and our eyes, God has given us to help us to grow. Do not love sleep or you will grow poor. Stay awake and you will have food to spare. People who are lazy will lack. It's no good, says the buyer, then goes off and boasts about the purchase. I like this one. He's talking about people that haggle. He basically is giving the implication that a good haggler will act like they're getting robbed when they make a deal, but when they walk off, they'll talk about how good of a deal they made. There's some shrewdness in the haggler is what he's saying. Verse 15, gold there is and rubies in abundance, but lips that speak knowledge are a rare jewel. Take the garment of one who puts up security for a stranger. Hold it in pledge if it is done for an outsider. Basically he's saying get collateral when you give a loan. Get collateral. Food gained by fraud tastes sweet, but one ends up with a mouth full of gravel. Oh, it feels good at first when you do something sinful. It tastes like honey, but in the end it stings. Plans are established by seeking advice, so if you wage war, obtain guidance. Don't go to war without a plan. And a gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. I like that. People who are always talking, people who are constantly sharing things about other people and secrets, they're gossips. They're going to betray confidence. He says, be careful to avoid people like that. If someone curses their father or mother, their lamp will be snuffed out in pitch darkness. Why? Because God tells us in the 10 Commandments to honor our mother and father, to obey our parents in the Lord, and we'll live a long life. It's the first commandment with a promise. An inheritance claimed too soon will not be blessed at the end. Don't give your kids something too early. Make sure that they're ready and that they can handle it. Verse 22, do not say, I'll pay you back for this wrong. Wait for the Lord and he will avenge you. Vengeance is the Lord's. It's not our responsibility to go get them. God is just and he's also merciful. And we need to sow mercy because there's going to be times where we want to reap mercy. The Lord detests differing weights. This is probably the 20th time he said this in Proverbs. God can't stand dishonest scales. He hates it when we cheat. And he doesn't want us to cheat people, and he doesn't want us to do things the wrong way. For a person's steps are directed by the Lord. How then can anyone understand their own way? The steps of the righteous are ordered by God. It's a trap to dedicate something rashly and only later to consider one's vows. Be careful what covenants we make quickly. For a wise king winnows out the wicked. He drives the threshing wheel over them. The human spirit is the lamp of the Lord that shed lights on one's inmost being. For love and faithfulness keep a king safe. Through love his throne is made secure. And the glory of young men is their strength, but gray hair shows the wisdom of the old. Blows and wounds scrub away evil, and beatings purge the inmost being. I want to highlight verse 29 again before we wrap this up. The glory of young men is their strength. When you're young, you're strong, you think you can take on the world. You get sore, you wake up the next morning and you go at it again. Your strength is your greatest asset. But as you get older, like King David, you won't be able to swing the sword like you used to. And there comes a point where it's not about how strong you are, but how smart or how wise you are. And the implication here is that as we grow older, we want to grow wiser, so that the young men, the young women who are strong will come to us and they'll seek counsel, and we can pour into the next generation. And God can use us and allow us to flourish in every season. Be blessed today.